This time on Railroad Australia.
Don't yank on it, pull the thing out.
It takes muscle and pinpoint accuracy
Stop!
in a race to manufacture the trains of the future.
I've got to keep going, we've got to get all this done in no time because we're so far behind.
Teenager Jaden fights to keep the fires stoked and prove the good old boys wrong.
That's my shovel, mate.
And a state-of-the-art coal train battles mountains
They're pretty much right at their limit now.
and mysteries
Can't see anything hanging down.
on a 5,000-ton run to port. They are the kings of the Australian outback.
You've got to concentrate all the time.
Some of the biggest trains in the world
If things go wrong with these things, normally makes a big mess.
on epic journeys
It's a bomb on wheels.
through a hostile continent.
Holy crap! Have a look at all this water.
A nation depends on them,
Oh, go boys, get in there.
and the teams that keep these metal monsters on the tracks, hauling huge loads of food, freight and mineral riches across incredible distances.
We are out in the middle of nowhere, that's for sure.
Big trains,
It'll be a massive challenge to us.
big country.
No one's ever done it. We'll see how we go.
Alright guys, we ready? Yep. Yeah. Jack 1? Yep. Yep. Jack 2? Yep. There's an hustle behind it, buddy.
In Dandenong, Victoria, at the Bombardier manufacturing facility, a train construction team lower over 40 tons of body shell onto its bogies,
Don't yank on it, pull the thing out. Put your foot up on the bogey if you have to.
combining brute force with precision.
Millimetre off.
Carrying 226 passengers at up to 160 kilometres per hour. With built-in diagnostics and a durable stainless steel body, Velocity trains have been designed to satisfy Victoria's rail needs into the future.
The V-Line network is absolutely exploding patronage-wise. Passenger numbers have never been higher. There's thousands of people relying on these things to get them to work and to school every day. And the moment these things are produced, they're getting sucked up and travelled on. They can't produce them fast enough. They're almost at capacity at the moment they roll out the door.
66 of these multi-million-dollar high-tech trains have been built for Victoria's massive regional public transport system. 9 more are needed urgently.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
It takes 3 separate teams to construct one Velocity train.
This is our next underframe ready to come up. Start building our next train.
First up, it's Dean and Trevor who will tackle the preliminary build.
So we're repetitively building them every 8 working days. And then it'll go to another station.
Tracy and Dan handle the wheels.
They're heavy enough that if one of these was to let go and fall on the ground, I probably wouldn't have a job.
Then Steve Hosking and his crew put the components together
Those should go in now. I'll come back and check in a sec.
to finish the train.
It's fantastic how quick you can build something from just some sheet steel into something that people can sit on comfortably and go for a nice ride from one side of the state to the other.
But now the Bombardier boys are facing an uphill battle.
Right? Yep. Go for it.
A freak event has thrown a spanner in the works.
Oh yeah. We had a lightning strike a couple of weeks ago actually, and it shut the cranes down for 4 days. Well, the cranes are down, as you can imagine, we've got 2 and 3 tons of stuff that go up each time. We can't lift it with anything other than the crane, so without cranes we can't build. And now it's catch up, so it's working our off to get the job done.
Pre-dawn, northwest of Sydney, at the Centennial Coal Loading Facility. 3,900 tonnes of coal, worth nearly $500,000, is being loaded into 50 wagons.
So we can find a way down the bank.
Drivers Simon and Glenn from Southern Short Haul Railroad arrive for their shift.
Just doing a crew change now, so Fitzy's just pulled up. We'll jump on, get set up, call the loader and continue load.
They have just one day to haul the gargantuan load up and down the steep terrain of the Blue Mountains, through the frantic commuter network of Sydney and onto the port of Newcastle.
We've got 3 CEY class C44 ACIs.
Pulling a 5,000-tonne train needs some serious grunt.
They make 4,400 horsepower at the flywheel, put about just over 4,000 down at the track. They're AC traction. They're pretty much the latest and greatest you can get in Australia.
These metal monsters also have a brain, a sophisticated computer system, ensuring everything runs efficiently.
We've asked it for a target speed of 0.5 of a kilometre an hour. So it's basically what I suppose you could call for the person at home, cruise control, but really slow cruise control. And that's so that as the wagons go underneath the coal loader, the guy can just tip the coal in and the wagon moves along underneath and it just pours in. Then he lifts the bin, next one moves in and he drops it back in, fills the next one up.
Just done your last wagon, you're right to go, mate, when you're ready.
No worries, cheers, thanks for that, mate. We'll catch you next time.
The 900-metre train rolls out right on time, but despite all of its high-tech capabilities, it will struggle to stay that way.
The first test for the train is actually an area known on the railway as Stonehouse. It's actually quite a steep, windy climb. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time to wind the train up to take a run at it, so I'm happy it's not raining at the moment.
Facing a 1 in 30 grade, for this heavily loaded train, rain is the biggest enemy.
Unlike a car with rubber tyres on a bitumen surface, has a fair bit of adhesion. Train wheels are steel, so it's steel on steel. When you add something like water, it almost acts like a lubricant, which makes it hard to get traction. This is the climb for Stonehouse. Locos are already sanding. Little sanding icons come up already. So just have to see how we go.
The computer detects slippage and automatically drops sand onto the track ahead of the wheels for traction. But just as the powerful engines begin to advance up the grade,
and it starts drizzling right on cue,
the enemy has arrived and the battle begins.
I don't know how we're going to go, to be honest.
1,300 kilometres away in South Australia, it's a huge day for 16-year-old Jaden Chandler.
Looks big.
At the Pitchy Richie workshops, it's the opportunity he's been waiting for his whole life.
Very good engine.
He wants to prove he's got what it takes to be on the footplate and become the 5th generation of his family to drive steam trains.
My pop used to work in the railways and this is his necklace that he handed down to me. He always used to wear this to work. Just follow my pop's footsteps, really. So, yeah. I'm going to get my qualifications, boiler ticket, everything you need to get on the engine. My aim is to be the youngest driver, so I'm planning to do it. Yeah, that's my goal.
With him is Uncle Dion, an experienced driver, but it's veteran Gavin who he must impress.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you going? Good morning, Dion. How's things? Yeah. Who you got with you?
Jaden.
Jaden, you know Jaden.
Impress Gavin and he'll make the grade for further training.
Work experience.
Let Gavin down and he risks letting down 5 generations of his family.
I think he probably just thinks it's a bit of a fun day out and it's just going to happen and, you know, he'll get to wave at the pretty girls. Come on up, we'll show you where to put your bag.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty nervous today. It's a big job, I just don't want to suffer up because I've got people's lives at risk and I don't really want to put them in danger, so hopefully I can get the job done.
Today, the Pitchy Richie team will be hauling 6 carriages with 240 paying passengers, 32 kilometres from Corn to Woolshed Flat and back. This section of track was once part of the original Gann line that cut through the heart of the outback, connecting the very north of Australia to its south. Today, it's an old twisting track that must be handled with care. The safety of the passengers is paramount. Not just anyone can be allowed at the controls of a 104-tonne machine. They need to gel quickly with those around them.
When you work a steam engine, you've got to work as a team. You can almost do the job without actually talking to each other. Teamwork on a steam engine is the key to success.
Rule number 1, don't leave the soap in the bucket or you'll end up wearing it. All right?
For Jaden, his dream day hasn't started the way he was hoping.
I expect to come here for a nice day on the foot plate, do all the fun stuff, and instead I'm sitting here cleaning up the mess.
All the dirty jobs we've got to start at the bottom, we all did them. Got to be done to get the engine out there and running.
Richard Explorer, ready to depart. Full of all.
Now, almost 19 metres of snorting machine muscles onto the 100-year-old Pitchy Ritchie track. For Jaden, it's a huge moment, standing in the same spot his ancestors have for over 130 years.
Work on this engine, I can just feel what they would have went through.
Keen to impress, Jaden throws himself into the work. But he has a lot to learn.
That's my shovel, mate.
This won't be the last line he crosses today. At the Bombardier factory, southeast of Melbourne, a team of specialists is racing to finish one of 75 high-tech trains for Victoria's rail network.
Go. Up.
Dean and Trevor are handling the preliminary build.
This is our next underframe ready to come up. So we'll be rotating it over 180 degrees.
For easier access, the underframe has all its parts installed while upside down.
So now we're rotating.
Then it's flipped.
This is an ingenious machine, this thing. We use it to rotate roofs, underframes. They work really well. I love them. They make life easier.
With each undercarriage weighing 7 tonnes and at 23 metres in length, it requires 2 operators controlling the cranes in tandem.
Just yell out if you haven't got a problem.
And safety is a priority.
If slings broke, it could fall to the ground. Or we might get a power blackout and the machines might stop. Well, now we've rotated this underframe, we're going to take it down and start to build another train. So it's basically just a look-see, make sure everything's safe and no one wandering in underneath. And we're always viewing the cranes that they're in tandem. If we have one crane travelling faster than the other, the load could drop. So we want to travel in tandem, same speed, all about safety.
The undercarriage now has to be placed on a jig, which holds it steady for the carriage shell to be built on top.
This is the final, fitting it into without breaking anything, wrecking anything.
This requires extreme precision.
We want to be on centre. That's all we look out for, is anything in the way. Someone might put a box or a trolley or in under the jig. I'm just moving over about probably 10 millimetres.
But the undercarriage isn't lining up.
You'll have to go up and south, Trev. Yeah, up again, mate. She's still catching.
600 kilometres northeast in New South Wales, the 5,000-tonne Centennial coal train crawls up the notorious Stonehouse Hill. Driver Simon's fears about the wet weather are coming true.
There's a couple of spots on the windscreen. I noticed it's raining a bit further over towards Lithgow there.
But Simon knows his powerful 4,000 horsepower locos also have the dexterity for the job.
These things are pretty competent engines. They'll get down to less than 1 kilometre an hour and still pull pretty hard.
Finally, the coal train makes the rise. But up ahead, a different kind of obstacle.
Out of the way, Skippy. Stacks of roos. A lot of roos, wombats. We do our best to scare them off, but some of them are not very bright, sadly. This area is actually commonly known as Suicide Alley, for obvious reason. Oh, there goes one. Yeah, so basically there's a kangaroo caught underneath somewhere, but I can't really stop here to do anything about it. We can hear him dragging a bit, but if I stop here, we'll have trouble getting going again, so poor bugger. That's not going to tickle.
A tangled animal would normally be thrown free.
That doesn't sound healthy.
Simon is forced to stop the train.
You can hear a whole heap of noise. We're going to stop short of the platform here and have a quick look. Is there anything stuck under there? The sand is all right? It's all good. Oh, we'll get going then.
Simon can't afford to delay his $500,000 load bound for port.
Now to get started again. Come on, sweetheart. Doesn't appear to be any damage. It must have let go just as we, just long before we pulled up. So it's not caught up under there and hasn't damaged any of the pipe work. A large kangaroo, if it gets in under there at the wrong time in the wrong place, can cause a bit of damage, but generally they just bounce off underneath and come out in small little pieces. So, but that one, that's the longest I've ever had a... Can you hear that? Yeah. That doesn't sound healthy.
That's my shovel, mate. No. My shovel, that's my baby. My parents bought that for me in 1971.
On the steep, twisting tracks of the Flinders Ranges, trainee steam driver Jaden is a little too eager to get his hands on the tools.
Yeah, the shovel my parents bought me when I was about 17, 18. Yeah, it's been a prized gift of mine and something I hold dear. And I saw him going to put a fire on with my shovel. I'm like, hey, come on, mate, you can't have that. It's smack hands off.
Buy yourself a tool of the trade if you're going to become a fireman.
Yep. I reckon Gav was trying to get to me, but I don't let no one win over me. So if you want to fight, bring it on.
Coming from 4 generations of hardened steam engine drivers, Jaden wants to show his Uncle Dion he's tough enough to make it 5.
I reckon Uncle Dion will be actually really proud of me because I'm taking on the family history and, you know, learn the ropes. So I bet you he's hoping that, you know, I'll take it on and hopefully, you know, maybe run the place in the future.
It will take over 1¼ tons or 200 shovels of coal to propel the 66-year-old W22 32 kilometres to Woolshed Flat and back to Corn.
That's one for you if you want one.
Yeah.
All right. When you need it. Go and have a go.
Jaden needs to prove he has the strength and stamina to keep the fire burning.
You've got to get it right in the back corners, otherwise they won't steam. So you've got to really turn your shovel around. I'll show you. Right like that. Also under the door, like this. Right.
An uneven spread of fire can lead to a loss of steam and power. It's hot, hard work, but Jayden is keen to show he's physically up to it.
He's good, he's keen, he's watchful, he's got the skills, but like all of these jobs, it takes time to round them and hone them into something that you can use.
Finally, Jayden is given a break from stoking the fire. Now his job is to keep an eye on what's up ahead, including multiple level crossings. With over 70 crossing accidents in Australia every year, it's an important job.
Be very conscious of the hazard that a railway crossing presents for you.
But Jayden, it seems, has other priorities.
You're using your phone, were you?
In Victoria, at the Bombardier train and tram facility.
I'm a bit off centre, so I need to come up a bit.
Dean is lining up an undercarriage onto a jig in a race to finish one of 9 urgently needed passenger trains.
So the crane's got 3 speeds, but we're just using speed 1. No use going down, crashing down and doing damage.
Getting this wrong and damaging the undercarriage components would stall the build and cost thousands of dollars in repairs.
South, north. Actually, I can see it properly. Yep. North, buddy.
As Dean guides the undercarriage down,
Bit more.
Trevor controls the crane.
Give that a go. Nah, you'll have to go up, Trev, mate. Let's go up that little bit further so it frees up wherever it's touching. And bit more. About another inch. Bit more north. Down. Go down. Keep going. Drop it. She's all in, mate. Just keep lowering her down. Perfect. Did we pass, Trev?
With flying colours, Dino.
Good. Well done, Trev. Good job, mate.
Now we can build number 6.
With the undercarriage secure, work on the top side of the train can begin, including the construction of the steel casing. And Dean's straight on to the next job.
Well, we're just moving it east down the factory to load on the trailer so we can transport it next door.
An undercarriage and body are ready to move to the next shed to be finished.
Yeah, they've been a great vehicle. They're great to build. I know the customer loves them, and I know the public love them. Bombardier love them. We love making them.
Meanwhile, in a nearby work shed, Tracy and Dan are preparing the wheels.
What's your driving, Tracy? I think they're 360 to 400 kilos.
That's why we use cranes to lift them up.
The train wheels are unique. They are connected to the axle shaft without any fittings.
There's no retaining bolts, no Loctite, nothing like that.
The key is that the wheel hole is smaller than the shaft.
If these aren't on right, they could come off, or they could slip, or you won't get drive, or whatever.
To get the wheel on the shaft, they must first apply a specialised lubricant.
Special touch.
Molly coat.
We only leave a very thin layer of molly coat on both the wheel and the journal. It's only there to ease the process.
Then it's pressure. Tons of it, using this wheel press machine.
Bit more. Well, too much down. Bit more. Yep. Now we're putting the tonnage up, and that's what actually moves the axle backwards and forwards and actually pushes the wheel on. And watch that gauge go. We're now on 9.1 tonne. That's how much tonnage those shafts are putting onto the end of that axle. The axle is actually larger in diameter than the bore sides of the wheel. So in other words, we're actually pushing metal aside to almost weld the wheel on in place. At the moment we're at 50 tonne.
But too much pressure and the process could fail.
No, well really that's something we don't want, really.
After hitting a kangaroo, a mysterious noise has brought the 5,000-tonne coal train to a stop again. Drivers Simon and Glenn do a more thorough search for the source of the rattling.
Can't see anything hanging down. All the sandpipes are there. There's no air leaking or nothing.
This second unplanned stop has put them further behind an already tight schedule.
Oh, there's a turtle down here.
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah, right. Well, we haven't run him over. That's a start. Must be coming out of the creek down here.
Oh, no, there's nothing dragging.
Whatever it is, must have let go. Oh, well, we'll keep going. That's what it is. Hey, Glenn. Found it. It's the ECP cable.
The impact from hitting the kangaroo has left an electric cable dragging on the track.
Yeah, we must have smashed it off pretty hardcore. Got any of them zip ties there, mate? All right, we'll get going.
Back on track, but it doesn't take long before more delays. A red signal light means they have to stop again. This time for commuter trains to make their peak hour runs. The coal train has missed its window of opportunity.
Obviously, now that we're late, we don't get any sort of priority at all. We go to the bottom of the queue. Yep, we're good to go. We'll give her a bit of a wind up for zigzag and hope the weather's all right up there.
Zigzag is the section of track that carries the train over the rugged Blue Mountains. A steep climb that would test the power of the engines even in dry weather.
1 in 42 grade, which is pretty steep, combined with some very tight curves. And the combination of the two gives us quite a bit of trouble, especially in the drizzle. The weather here is pretty good at the moment, but it can be completely different up the top of the hill. Right on cue it starts drizzling. Can't win some days.
To conquer zigzag, momentum is critical. Simon pushes the locos to maximum power.
Well, we've done all we can now. It's up to the computer.
As the first of the 50 wagons hits the slope, the engines start to fight gravity and slippery tracks.
As you can hear in the background, you can hear the screaming of the wheels as they're trying to grip the rail. Come on, darling. The locos are really starting to battle now. Down to 12 k's an hour. You can feel them jumping about a little bit. That'll only get worse as they get slower.
Zigzag and the weather have combined to slow the train to under 2 kilometres per hour. Stall now and the train will be stuck.
They're pretty much right at their limit now.
In South Australia, trainee Jaden is riding the W22 into one of the most dangerous sections of the Pitchy Ritchie track. Here, the old line crosses the modern highway, and it's his job to keep a lookout.
You were using your phone, were you? I saw your phone in your hand. Got to concentrate on the job, mate. Make sure we don't get distracted.
Stopping 104 tonnes of screaming metal takes over 100 metres. The driver needs all the warning he can get.
I got my phone out to post a video on social media to show them what I'm doing today, but Gavin said, no, don't put your phone away.
This is important to keep our eye out. Leave your phone till we stop. Yep. All right, mate? That'll be good. It's all very nice to maybe send some photos to friends on social media or, let everybody know what fun he's having. That's after the job. That's when he gets home.
If you have a crash, say, what were you doing? Oh, I was on my phone. So yeah, you got to be aware of the pace around you, so yeah.
Got to know your rules backwards. Yeah. I mean backwards. Right.
To get his head right, Jaden is put back to work. But with only a few kilometres to go, he's running out of time to prove himself. In the bogie workshop at Bombardier, Tracy and Dan face extreme pressure to secure two 360 kilogram wheels to an axle without a single nut or bolt.
The actual wheels are held on by the pressure of the wheel being pushed onto the axle. Oh, baby.
The wheel press machine applies massive hydraulic pressure to force the smaller wheel hole over the larger axle.
That's what's holding it on. No bolts, no welds, no nothing.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Well, you're not going to let me crack 100 ton.
Nah.
What?
Hey, is it above the blue line?
No. Yeah, all right, it's above the blue line. 98 ton. Worse than my wife, you are.
Right.
Yes.
Now they need to make sure they've got it right.
We're checking the distance between the face of that wheel and the face of that wheel. It has to be within a certain tolerance.
If the distance between the two wheels is too great or too small, it will have to be redone, with a damage bill running into the thousands.
1523.5. One more to go.
Yep. Right.
1523.66. They're both in tolerance there. That's it.
That's it. The trains and trams here are all built from hand, from the ground up. There's another completed bogie to go under another completed train for the Victorian people.
Jack 1, yep.
Now the completed bogie is joined to the finished train carriage. Stepping up to the plate, team leader Steve and lift operator Jared.
Whoa! The two of us are just the cave trolls. We just live under this car.
But lowering the 40-ton carriage onto the bogies requires pinpoint accuracy.
Light up.
And Steve has to have eyes everywhere. Responsibility rests with him.
Make sure those blue tags are out, red dots are down.
Where's the red dot?
Red dot's underneath.
Roger that.
He yells a lot because the train has to go out, and him being team leader, he gets hounded by bosses up top, so.
Coming up the other end in a sec. Keep going, Jared. I've got to keep going. We've got to get all this done in no time because we're so far behind.
Steve can't afford to rush.
Don't put your hands on top, only underneath.
Damaging something now will delay delivery to a client who desperately needs trains, and ones that work. In the Blue Mountains, a 5,000-ton coal train slips and shudders its way up the notorious zigzag hill, inch by painful inch.
I don't know where this is going to go.
Rain has made the track slick, and at under 2 kilometres per hour, the engines are perilously close to stalling.
They're putting up a good fight, so I think we'll be right, but we'll just see how we go. We're getting there, very slowly, but we're getting there.
Finally, the gradient eases.
The train's now gathering speed at a good pace, so we'll be right.
Having conquered zigzag, the coal train passes over and through the Blue Mountains. But what goes up must come down. Simon now faces an even more dangerous challenge. Trying to keep the 5,000-ton monster from careering out of control down the rain-sodden mountain and towards the sprawling metropolis of Australia's largest city, Sydney.
So the grade here is up to 1 in 33, which is steep. So yeah, I've got to have my wits about me for a little while now.
The loco must stay under 40 kilometres per hour. And the wet weather means that Simon has to focus on making sure the braking system is doing its job.
So see how we go. Still slipping a little bit. It's just about managing the train brake now. I've already pulled it back a little bit, so. So far, so good.
The engines and their coal-laden wagons safely reach the outskirts of Sydney.
As you can see, all the trains have gone to Sydney with the morning peak, so the yard's pretty empty.
Because the peak hour rush is over, they have a clear run through the city and on to Newcastle.
Try and hopefully make up a little bit of time, but we're well behind it now.
By late afternoon, the huge load of coal approaches the terminal at Newcastle.
Oh, the day started not too badly, and it hasn't really quite gone to plan since then. Weather and being late, and that's been the two things that have given us a certain amount of grief. These things happen on the job. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You've just got to roll with it.
Finally, 3 hours behind schedule, the coal train unloads its $500,000 of rocky cargo ready for export to the world. Back on the Pitchy Ritchie line, Jayden is stoking the W22 feverishly, determined to make amends for his earlier mistakes and help power the old machine home.
Keeping a quiet eye on things. No, I might not look like I'm watching, but I am.
But it will be up to driver Gavin to decide if the young hopeful is made of the right stuff for further training.
You got to stay neat and tidy. You got to look good for your public, mate. Yeah. All right. Passengers don't want to see a grotty, greasy engineman. They want to see a bloke that looks like he's in control of the job.
Finally, they arrive at their destination, Corn.
Okay.
But for Jayden, the test is not over yet.
You reckon you can work out how to do it?
It looks a bit high and dangerous.
Yeah, well, you've got to use the steps carefully, hang on to the handrail.
Before it can cool down, the W22 must be fed and watered.
Don't reach out too far to get the chain.
At the end of a long day, Jayden must have the energy to finish the job and the attention to detail to take care of difficult and potentially hazardous tasks.
He knows that he's being watched, but we're watching him to make sure that he does the right thing and that he learns from it.
I had a quiet word to him about concentrating on the job and the importance of that. You get yourself in strife on a railway if you don't keep an eye out and just watch what's going on all the time. Right, I'll get down first.
Yep.
I want my eyes still.
Jayden's final job is to pour soda ash solution into the system to prevent scale building up and causing a blockage. It's caustic and he must be careful.
That's pretty high up actually, but you feel a bit scared because if a big lot of wind comes, I'm probably going to end up down there with their crew.
Drop.
Finally, the test is over.
So Gavin, how do you reckon I did?
Still a way to go, lots to learn, but yeah, you did all right.
Yeah, you did pretty well. Pretty well, I reckon. The real thing is, that was a good trip. Everything went well, nice and easy. The ones you really got to learn from are the bad trips. Okay, mate?
Sounds good to me.
Done well. Good on you.
The next generation of steam train driver is born.
Oh, it was the best time of my life. It was the best experience I could have ever imagined.
Oh, I think you did pretty well on your first time.
Cheers, Uncle Ben.
Good on you, buddy. No problem.
Cheers.
Well done.
So I reckon Jayden can become a good engineman. I think he's capable. He's got the young, youthful attitude. He wants to come, he wants to learn, and that's a starting point that we can all work with.
I'm proud of him, and so would our dad, which is his granddad and great-granddad.
Come down here today to see if I like it and if I'll take it on, but definitely I love it. So I'm going to take it on now. So next step, I'm coming for you.
Just tap them under when they start hitting the bogey.
Yeah.
Just so they go in the right spot.
At Bombardier, Steve and his team are about to connect the train body with its bogies to finish another high-tech train of the future.
Just be mindful of these things there. Yeah, pull them out.
Oh, well, you wouldn't want to get your hand crushed anywhere, so you've got to stand right back.
Pull the yaw dampeners out.
Weighing in at over 40 tonnes, the team must lower the body with millimetre precision.
I'm just making sure there's clearance between all parts onto the bogie so we don't have any damage, no broken or bent parts. Any small mistake will be in thousands, tens of thousands.
Jared operates the lift that controls the vertical movement.
We still haven't got the airbags in on that end. All right, guys, we ready? Yeah. Yeah.
Each press of the button could make or break the job.
All right, down she comes. Need to watch his drive shaft as well.
If you feel like you're in any trouble, you just yell out stop and they'll stop lowering the train. And but yeah, you just got to make sure nothing gets caught as it's getting lowered.
How are these hoses looking? Oh, you can let that go now, Simon. All right, now what I need to watch is those auto levelers.
Yeah.
If they hit on that bracing on the bogie, they can snap. Don't hit them with a stick, Simon, because I'll go to the wrong spot. Just watch them. How's it looking?
So we're not lined up very well, eh?
No, when it gets lower, we'll line it up properly.
Yeah, sure.
Down.
Whoa!
Halfway down, there's a problem.
The centre pin has to line up with the bogies there, so we just have to sort of move it east or west and all that sort of stuff.
They'll have to push the 2-ton bogies horizontally, millimetres at a time.
Right, roll it down a bit.
2 mil maybe.
A bit more. How's that look?
Yeah, my side looks good.
Right, Jared.
Coming down.
Coming down. Stop. Go up. What's up, Jazz?
The centre pin's just sitting on the edge of the socket there, so just gonna try and knock it in.
Does the bogey have to be moved?
Yeah, it does. Oh, does it?
Does.
Which way?
Take the east side chock out. Yep. Yep. Right, tell me when it goes in. Too much? Too much.
Gotta go east more.
East?
East, yeah. Go!
Alright, give that back, mate. There we go.
That's it.
Oh,
Yep.
right, down.
Coming down.
Yep.
Coming down.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
That's it.
Alright, down she comes. Bogey hoses are good. Drive shaft's good.
Lovely.
Yep. Centre pin's in. Is that all the way down, Jazz?
I can bring it all the way down.
Go all the way down, brother.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's done, the centre pin.
See how we bogey a train, big boy?
Yep.
Well done.
That's all right. There you bogey your train.
Well done. Another one gone.
Yep, another one boss done.
Thank you, gentlemen. Right, Tommy. Thanks, mate. Well done. All right, now you can all go and get go home. We're catching a glimpse of the train going past. It's just amazing to think that you had a part in that. You know, there's people who are going down to visit family or friends or going on a nice holiday, and you've been able to provide that in your own special way for them to go on that little trip, which is great.
But the job's not over yet. Before the train can start shifting passengers, a rigorous testing regime stands in the way.
When I get 130 k's an hour, I'll make a full service brake application.
No worries at all.
And with some of the highest standards in the world, passing will push the testing team to the limit.